Hi, girls. Welcome back to Pink Podcast. And today's episode is extra special because it's my birthday episode. Happy birthday to me. Sorry for hurting your ears. But no, actually, it is my birthday episode. It was my birthday a week and a half ago. Okay. It's almost been 2 weeks since my birthday. So it's a little late, but as a Leo, it's gonna be my birthday for like the next 3 weeks. Okay. I get like a full month. And so it's still my birthday. I wanted to make a turning 26 episode because last year I made an episode as I was turning 25. I think I called it like my quarter life crisis. And I was just talking about where I was, like things that I wanted to, I guess, like overcome by 26 and just the changes I was feeling, where I was at mentally, and where I feel like my growth was headed towards as a human. And I feel like 26 kind of exceeded my expectations. I mean, like, my journey from 25 to 26. I felt at 25 that like I was way closer to like frontal lobe development, I guess, than now looking back that I was, if that makes sense. Like I thought I was further into the completion of that frontal lobe development. And now looking back, I'm like, oh no, girl, you had just begun. And now I feel like I've maybe arrived, or I'm like at least like 85% of frontal lobe developed, if not all of it. I had to sit there and watch myself from a year ago. And let me tell you something, watching yourself talk, even like when I have to edit these episodes, I'm like a little cringe. But when you watch yourself back like a year ago or something, you feel extra cringe, especially when it's something like this, like a little bit more, I guess, performative. Like I have to post these things, so it's not just like I'm talking and it's on my camera roll. It's like I'm watching the stuff that I know I put out. Anyways, I had to watch that stuff back. I had to reflect to like where I was, where I am now, and that's what today's episode is going to be about. I want to talk about where I was, where I am now, what I've learned, what's different from 25 to 26, what do I still feel like needs some growing, and let's just jump straight into the episode. Some of the things that I had mentioned in those videos were some things that I was kind of struggling with at the time that I wanted to overcome eventually, and that I felt like were really hindering my life. And one of those things had to do with like productivity and how much I felt like I wasn't doing anything or doing enough. And I can actually deliver good news that I feel like I have overcome that hurdle. Now, that doesn't mean that like I'm perfect and that every day is the most productive day of my life, or that I don't get into a little slump here and there like a regular human does. But watching that back, I do remember how bad I felt like I had struggled with procrastination and just not really giving every day my all for actually a lot of years of my life. And I remember this time around last year, I really felt compelled to want to change that about myself. I felt really frustrated knowing that that was part of my identity and that I felt like I couldn't really grow because of my own lack of action. And I don't know if it had to do with frontal lobe development or just, I guess, maybe creating a schedule that works better, or if being more dedicated and applying myself more, or the ability to kind of be at home more now and like dedicate more time to the things that really matter, or maybe like a combination of all those things. But the great news is that it has been cured. Round of applause. I felt like this was something that I struggled for so many years of my life, like even back to when I was in high school and college and post college and up until literally last year. It felt like I was always overtaken by this extreme sense of I can't do anything, like I'm not doing enough. And maybe it was kind of the realization of like, okay, I'm growing up and you have to get your shit together and apply yourself to things that matter. I really can't point my finger to one thing or another because I feel like I would be kind of lying. Like, how could I know if it is just maturing or if it's just the fact that I was really trying to overcome this? Like, I feel like I had tried before and I hadn't. So I feel like part of it does have to do with maturity. I think a lot of the things that prohibit us from maybe reaching that level of productivity in today's day and age is probably our phones and like our addictions to social media. I do feel like I should be spending less time on those apps. I do have to be honest. That is one of the things that I'm still struggling with on the day to day. Like, I feel like I need to have stricter rules with myself and just like a more like restricted access overall to these apps. Kind of like if I was like a child, like I know I wouldn't let my kid go on social media the way that I use social media. And I feel like that's the best metric to know if I'm doing it right or wrong. It's like, would I let my kid do this? And I feel like if I wouldn't let my kid do that, then I'm definitely, not doing the right thing. And I feel like as much as we want to think to ourselves that we have this full control of ourselves and we can just kind of say enough is enough, it is kind of worth noting that it is a real addiction. And with any addict and any addiction, you can't just kind of expect them to have it around and not do it. Like part of overcoming that addiction is kind of removing it from the premise and not having access to it at all. And so I feel like genuinely the best way that I can balance having to work on social media apps for my jobs and not wanting to scroll on them for leisure or every time I'm bored or anytime that there's like a second in the day that I can kind of check and see what's happening would be to have a secondary phone that just has these apps in it. And that way I can't, just check the apps throughout the day. I just kind of like go on it and like check my posts or post something new and just like interact, whatever, and then leave. I feel like that would be the best way for me to be able to like separate the two in the healthiest manner because I feel like any other way, even like the screen time limits, which I've tried and they have helped, but I feel like it does require a lot of self restrictment. Is that the right word? Self restricting, self discipline. I don't know. It takes a lot of discipline to actually be able to not just put like, okay, like ignore it for like 15 minutes. I feel like the only other way that that could work is if somebody else puts the password for you because you can put a password on your screen time limit. And if somebody else puts a password for you, then you actually have to be serious about that screen time. So it's either getting somebody to put a password for you or getting a separate phone for it. I actually do have a separate phone. It's like my old phone, it's an iPhone 12. And I have kind of considered either making that one like my regular phone, like with my phone number, and putting my newer phone as my work phone or vice versa. But I feel like then there's also like the dang, what if I'm out and about and I want to make a TikTok and I don't have the app on my phone? Which I feel like when do I ever go out and actually make a TikTok? I feel like these are just kind of like excuses more than anything. But, that's where we're at with that topic of productivity and social media. I have overcome the concept of productivity and doing more with my day and just being more intentional and filling up my day with a lot of good things. But I still have to work on limiting my screen time a lot more than what I do now. Now, there are other things that I was worried about when I was watching back the videos, for example, like motherhood or aging, and even stuff like my birthday posts at the time. Like I remember like giving you girls a hack of like, oh, how I do my birthday posts is like I'll make sure I get my birthday pictures in advance. That way I'm not stressing on my birthday. And it was just funny, like watching back the things that were kind of like predominantly in my mind at that time. First of all, I am no longer scared of motherhood at all. Like that whole concept of, oh, like I won't have that much time for me, or I'm not ready to just like not everything be about me, 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 me. That was so prevalent in my mind a year ago. And I did feel like ready and excited for motherhood then. I still had a part of me like pulling me, being like, like maybe not just yet, like maybe just like savor what it's like just being a human without any like deep, deep worries, like what a child is for just like a little longer. Like I remember feeling like that, like I'm ready, but I also don't want to yet, But I feel like that has completely transformed now. I feel like maybe because I'm a little bit older and maturity and just like maybe frontal lobe has a role in it. I really do think that the frontal lobe plays a huge part. It's like your adult puberty in a sense. It kind of takes you from pre-adulthood where you feel like you're mature and this and that to like real adulthood where you value things a lot more like family and friendships and like the real things rather than like being so selfish and carefree. Like I know a couple years ago I would have went skydiving. I actually have went skydiving before, but now at the stage I'm at in my life, I'm like, oh no, that's so risky and like I can't play with my life like that. And I feel like that's something that kind of comes more with like aging, like you kind of value life more and whatever. But it is funny because it's like, you're like your second transition, like when you're 12, 13, 14, and you're going through like that main stage of puberty where you're going from childhood to adolescence and it's such a big shift. I feel like this is like the next form of that, which is frontal lobe. So that's why I keep like bringing it up because I genuinely do think it plays such a huge role in like why we feel differently about so many things. And I did really fear in a sense what motherhood would do to me or how it would transform my life. And obviously now I am still like aware of the fact that things will change and there will be shifts, but I am way more excited and like ready mentally and just like accepting of all those changes and I'm more like enthusiastic about it and I don't have that like worry that I used to have, that underlying worry. I also feel like I'm way less scared of aging. Like last year, I remember feeling like, oh no, like I'm turning 25, like I'm kind of like getting up there in my 20s. Like there's a big difference between like early 20s and like mid 20s to late 20s. Like I feel like mid 20s you start to already feel like you're in your late 20s and you just no longer feel like you're young and like, oh my God. But I feel like that has now changed also. Like ever since, this whole year, I feel like now I look at myself and I'm like, no, you're literally so young. Like you're gonna wish you were 26 again when you're 36 and 46 and 56. And even at those points, there's so much life left to live. And I just feel like societally speaking, we worry so much about aging because obviously, like as women, we do understand we have some sort of societal value, especially even more in our youth. And whether or not we like to admit that that's a huge part of our worry, I feel like it is, whether you're aware of it or not. And, I feel like I don't know what really like changed again, frontal lobe or just maturing, where I kind of realized like, no, like at 26, you're literally so young. You have your whole life ahead of you. And that whole like worry of like aging and like time passing and my God, I'm no longer youthful. I think it just also gets programmed to you in high school because when you're in high school and you look at people in their 20s, you're like, you guys are old as hell. Or even when you're like 19, 20, 21, and you're like, you're 26? Like, aren't you grown? But then you get to 26 and you're like, oh my God, I'm really not. Like, I'm still a kid. Like, not a kid, but you still feel so young. And I feel like that transform my mindset about like aging and being scared of like the numbers. Like, I don't even think I'll feel old when I'm 30. Like, that's like the beginning of, I feel like, another step of adulthood? And I'm so happy. I feel like I've been like released from the shackles of worrying about aging and also even just like aging in my skin or whatever. Like, obviously, don't get me wrong, as a girl, I want to, preserve my appearance as much as I can and like take care of my skin. But I feel like before I used to be so scared, like, oh my God, is that like a wrinkle starting to develop? And what is that like? Why is my skin no longer like this or that? And now it just feels like, girl, you're in your 20s. Like, your skin is not going to look like how it did when you were 19. And it's almost like a relief. Like, oh, you know what? I've officially entered like real adulthood. I mean, I feel like 26, you'd be like, did you not know you were in real adulthood? But I feel like it's like a mental shift when you stop worrying about the things that you were worried about when you were younger. The last point I want to get into is I feel like more than ever, I really hold my friendships and my family way closer to my heart. Like this birthday, I really spent it with the people that I care about the most in the world. And I feel like that was such a huge difference than other birthdays where I have considered doing like parties or hanging out with more people or doing something a little bit more celebratory where like more people that maybe I didn't care that much about or that weren't that close to me could come. And it was just like a bigger event. But like now just spending it with like my closest people ever, just like made it feel so much more special and not having any pressure of like making sure other people were having fun or having some sort of event or oh my God, I really gotta get like my birthday pictures. Like I feel like all that like stupid young stuff. Obviously I wanted to get nice memories and like if I happen to get a cute IG picture out of it, like that's great. But I actually didn't even end up getting that, which was okay. Like, it wasn't really the focus of my birthday week or any of that. And it was just literally like the best birthday, even though I didn't do anything crazy or extravagant. I've had other birthdays where we went on vacation, like me and my boyfriend, and that was a beautiful vacation and a wonderful time. But I think a lot of my mindset was focused on getting pictures and this and that. And just like, I just wasn't as present. And I feel like now more than ever, I really like just value the people around me. And as cliche as that sounds, like I really just do value the people around me even more. And I feel like I was able to be super present during those days. I spent some days with just my boyfriend and then some days with just my family and then a day with my friends. And it just felt like all my cups were filled. Like all my birthday wishes came true and I got to do like all the things that I really wanted to do and just spent the best quality time with all those people. And I'm excited to see what else I learn at 26. Like, I feel like this is the beginning of a new journey. I feel like this is going to be my best year ever. I feel like 25 was a really pivotal and important year in my life where a lot of things changed and grew and transformed. And I'm super, super blessed and happy with how 25 went for me, that whole journey of growing, whether it was like mentally and in my relationships and just like in life. And I'm just excited for the new sense of self that I have gathered this past year and just kind of seeing how different 26 will be from 25. And yeah, I'm excited to see how this new brain of mine, fully maybe frontal lobe developed brain, functions now. And yeah, that's it for my birthday recap video. I hope that you girls enjoy this one and I love you all so much. I will see you girls next Wednesday. Bye.